Hi, and welcome to my series on object-oriented programming in PHP. In this video, we're going to be covering the basics of OOP, including what classes and objects are and how they work. So, what is OOP? Well, it's a programming paradigm that is centered around the concept of objects. These objects are reusable units of code that contain or encapsulate both the data and the behavior. OOP allows you to design your code in a way that is more modular, easy to maintain, and collaborate on. First up, let's talk about classes. A class is a blueprint for an object. It defines properties and behaviors that objects of that class will have. In addition to defining properties and behaviors, a class can also have constructors and destructors. A constructor is a special function that is called when an object is created, and a destructor is a special function that's created when an object is destroyed. Usually these are for setting properties and destroying them once you're done with them. In this example, we're going to be creating a person class that has the properties name, age, and gender. In versions of PHP prior to 8.0, you have to define them manually like this. But in versions 8.0 and later, you can remove a lot of boring boilerplate code from your class by defining them dynamically at the same time as setting them in your constructor like this. This class will also define behaviors talking and walking. This is done via methods, and in case you aren't familiar with the term method, a method is just a function that is contained within a class. Okay, now we defined our first class, let's create our first object. To create an object from a class, we want to use the new keyword followed by the name of the class. This is called instantiating an object. For example, to create the object from our person class, we can type the following: $person equals person. This is going to store our newly instantiated object within a variable called person. This variable or object now has access to all the properties and behaviors that we defined within the person class. This means that we can now access any public properties from within our object using the arrow notations like this. This means that we can get or set any of these public property values directly on the object. And don't worry, if you're wondering what I mean when I say public in relation to a property or a method, well, it's called scope, and there's going to be a whole video later on in the series. Next up, let's talk about methods. We can call behaviors on this object using the same arrow notation, but this time with parentheses. This is going to execute any code written within that method. And that's it. That's a brief overview of classes and objects in PHP. In the next video, we're going to look at how to create reusable code using interfaces. Thanks for watching, and make sure you're subscribed to catch the rest of this series. Peace out.